us in the pledge.
With allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Family in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day, beautiful weather. Just pray you give us guidance and wisdom as we continue to work on the budget and the growth of our community. Thank you for the staff. Protect everyone today as they do the work for us. And in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. Do I have a second? And we mixed the second of that. Second of that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Citizen comments. I'll ask everybody to line up here. Don't all rush. Since we have no one to make any comments at this point, we'll move forward past D. Anybody have any conflicts as it relates to today's agenda? 2 items? No. Okay, we're good. Moving along. No appointments. No consent agenda. No unfinished business. Okay. Rock and roll. New business. Public Works Facility Design Contract with Hutton.
Honorable Mayor. Testing. Honorable Mayor and City Council, Craig Frossett, your City Administrator. Distinct pleasure to have the opportunity to present the Part 1 contract with Hutton Design Build for the Public Works Facility. So a little bit of background here for you guys. Okay, so as you guys recall, we went through a very lengthy process to develop our community's 10-year capital improvement program. The Public Works Facility was highlighted as one of the priority projects, and we're very excited to be at the point where we're at today to address this critical need. We need to improve the operational space and the equipment storage and just have some capacity for our long-term growth for that department. During the 2025 council meeting in July, you guys may recall that you directed city staff to work with our legal team as well as Hutton to put together the Part 1 design build contract with Hutton. This new facility, just for a point of reference, it's going to be located north of the current facility. It's on 199th Street on the east side of the road, just north of the Evergy substation there. So there will be some connectivity to this facility from the current one, which will be nice for logistics. This Part 1 agreement with Hutton, it will initiate the design and pre-construction process, so we'll get a full set of plans that a contractor could take and then build the project. The Part 1 agreement, again, full design, pre-construction services, architectural, civil, structural, mechanical, plumbing, and electrical engineering. Will include schematic design, design development, construction documents, scheduling, and cost estimating. There is a fixed fee for this Part 1. It's $195,000. And that will remain fixed regardless of the final construction costs. The current preliminary estimate, which is fairly up to date with where we're at in the iterative process, is $3.25 million. We're super excited about that. Cost benchmarking, so based on the current estimate and our conversations with Hutton, we're anticipating the ability to deliver this project between $230 and $245 per square foot. So that's discussing kind of the Part 1 fee, what we're looking at for potential construction costs. Looking at Part 2, which will be a contract that will come.
The 3.25, that includes, doesn't that include the...
That includes FF&E, so that's furnishings.
Yeah, furnishing, fixtures.
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay.
Yep. Great question. So again, this afternoon we're talking about the Part 1 contract, which is more so to do with design and engineering. We will have a Part 2 contract that comes up as we get to the finality of design, and that'll be more related to the actual construction of the project. We are looking at going with design build, so sole source with Hutton. There's a couple of future expectations to consider. Hutton will be required to self-perform for construction activities that they'd like to be able to perform as a part of the project. There will be several bid packages, major scopes of work like the earthwork, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, the actual supply of the building. And so we will get to see as a city open book and competitive pricing for those different bid packages. So a little built-in transparency there. So we'll be interested to see what kind of costs we can get from the subcontractors. So we're looking at a 4.25% fee for the construction management services. As a part of my research, I asked some of the local firms, well actually some of them self-solicited this advice to me, I should add, of what a reasonable contractor profit would be, and this fee is actually below the range that I received in those conversations, so I'm really happy about that. I'm also fairly satisfied with that $195,000 fee for the Part 1 services. I think that comes out to about 6% of the total estimated construction costs, and when we look at some of the other large-scale capital projects going on in the area, as we have conversations with other design firms, 6% is a very competitive rate. So although we're looking at going sole source with Hutton, I feel like we're doing a pretty good job there with having a competitive price. $195,000, I hit that a couple of times. There are some additional expenses that could be required a la carte. Surveys, geotech, permitting, plating, I think will be one to anticipate. So we're working on that with our community development department. Those would be costs outside that $195,000. Again, that $3.25 million, it's not a guarantee. I'm going to show you the current iteration. We've been meeting with Public Works and Hutton about every other week for the last month or two. And so based on that current iteration, that $3.25 million is a fairly good number. So we'll be able to refine that more as we move forward. If you remember, you know, we trying to keep it in that's actually really on the low end of where we're trying to be. So super excited about that if I didn't reiterate it enough. The funding for this will come from the 2025-3 temporary note. We've already had that authorization. I think we'll have a note sale sometime in the next few weeks, if not already, so we should have the temporary note in the bank so we can start paying the bills for this project. So Ryan Peck with Morris Lang, our city attorney, he was primarily involved in making sure that this Part 1 agreement was approved by his office, and we also had him look at the Part 2 agreement at the same time, so when we get to that point here in a couple of months, it should be relatively streamlined to get it back in front of City Council. So I think important to note is that the agreement also preserves the city's right to terminate the process at the conclusion of Part 1 should mutually acceptable Part 2 terms not be reached with Hutton. So we still have a little bit of flexibility if we wanted to look outside, but really this is intended to be a design build process working with them solely, and that is plan A and one that we should see to fruition. But if unforeseen circumstances occur, we have options. Here is the current iteration. So there's already a couple of changes from this design. If you don't mind, Mayor, I'm going to step up here. So you're looking at about 3,250 square feet of finished office space here, a shop space of around 7,500 square feet, and then you got this wash bay of about 1,500. So total square foot of about 12,454. So this is an old iteration. This wash bay we determined is going to be converted to more shop space. And then we're going to add another bay even onto the other side of the wash bay. And then we will have an outdoor wash bay. This was something that we saw during our visit to City of Derby. They had an outdoor wash bay that they really liked, and we had a couple of concerns with having it outside. And the feedback we got from them made it seem like that could be a good idea. Anytime you mix in water with indoor spaces, it seems to deteriorate a little bit faster. We're going to be doing a ton of vehicle washing in the in the middle of winter when it's really cold. So, but at any rate, one thing we felt like this design was lacking was enough shop space, because we don't want to have our trucks and our loaders and everything spread across all of our facilities. We'll still have some old buildings. We want to have as much of our operation in this facility as possible for logistics and efficiency. So that $3.25 million included a conversion of this wash bay, and then we feel like we can even get this extra bay, an extra lane out here to grow the indoor footprint of this more unfinished shop space. So over here on the finished space, the previous iteration, we had a lot more of these individual offices. I think what Jason and I really like about this one is we have this communal office space here. So there's actually 18 feet from this wall to this wall of open space. These will be communal workspaces. So some of our field guys that aren't, going to need to be in the office as much, sometimes they still need to make a phone call, talk to a vendor, get on their tablet and submit a report. They'll be able to come in and park at one of these desks. We can roll up some maps on these big islands here. These are big workstations. But I really like the ability to grow into this area administratively. We kind of already have like these 3 offices, quote unquote, assigned to. We think we'll fill them. We may have this one's office space for a future employee, but then after that, we're out of, individual offices. However, we will have these 9 or 8 communal spaces where we can continue to put staff. If we needed a cubicle and we could, but really a communal space should work for the types of positions we may need to grow into administratively. But the majority of this workforce is going to be blue collar guys who are out in the field working. It's not going to be a lot of administrative staff. Now, as our community continues to grow and evolve, you may see us hire GIS techs. We may start doing some civil engineering in-house. We may put some inspectors and stuff over there. So those will be folks that we'll be able to add very comfortably into this communal workspace. We also have this large conference center, so part of these guys' work is they have to do a ton of professional development and training for safety and best practices. When laws change, whether it's OSHA related or some other type of thing, they've got to be educated on that stuff. And we have contracts with our liability insurance for those folks who come in and do different types of trainings on things. And so this large conference room will be a great place to have those trainings. Today we're all competing over this little space right here, which can be a challenge, right? You can see we got a toilet here for any visitors we may have. We don't anticipate a lot of visitation from the public. We're not going to have citizens walking in there to ask questions. The only people that will be going in that front door are going to be vendors or folks who are coming to have a set meeting with public work staff, like a partnering agency or a consultant or something of that nature. So it's not like we need to have a greeting space here. This foyer here will be very similar to the vestibule or foyer that we have in front of City Hall. You've got women's locker room, men's locker room. You've got a break room here. We'll have a little concrete pad, outdoor patio, a small conference room so you can have some smaller conversations with smaller groups of employees. Or if you need to have 2 meetings going on at once, which with a growing team, that's going to happen some. That's kind of the breakdown. We really like this space. We feel like it's very efficient and it creates opportunities to grow within it without having to expand the walls. The one issue again with this iteration is we need to get this converted to shop space, then add one more bay even on the other side of it. So we have enough room for vehicles, tool benches, racks, storage. We do not have a mezzanine, which is something that a lot of the other facilities have, but the mezzanines get extremely expensive, and so sacrificing the mezzanine, we're able to actually add some more bays on the ground level at a more cost-efficient way. So that's where we're at with the iterative design. We're going to continue to kind of hammer on this, but I feel like we're getting to a place where we're pretty good with the overall concept, and then we'll start working into some of the finer details. So as we start to trickle our way forward, I'm going to be stepping out of this project more and more and start handing it over more to Jason under his leadership. Wanted to get us to this point where we're getting our contracts approved. We've got it through our CIP, we got it in budget, we've got the financing set up. Those are kinds of things that I need to take care of now that Jason's been here for a month and a half or so. He'll start stepping more into this, and I will start stepping more out so I can recalibrate to other things. So I want to give Jason an opportunity to share anything he wants to share. We do have Josh Herman, who will be the principal on this project, representing Hutton. After those two have a chance, Mayor, if it's okay with you, I'd be grateful to open it up to the dais for questions.
Mayor and Council, I would say first off, coming into this position with these projects already started has been a blessing. It's really great to step into something like this and see the progress and improvements that are happening in this community. As far as this building is concerned, I think this will be a great step forward with the growth of our team. I also believe that this should be a huge morale booster. It should be something that will draw and maybe even keep our current team members here. As Craig has mentioned, this space will be utilized to the best of its ability, especially with these conference rooms. That larger conference room, yes, will be for training, but it will be also great for these situations of like pre-construction meetings and such. That way we don't have to always take up what's at City Hall. That smaller conference room up there again is when there's more than one meeting going on at a time. I also feel like this is a great way of preserving the equipment that we'll be having, because we'll have the ability to store equipment inside, out of the weather. It also has a big benefit, especially as winter comes along. There's places, that equipment needs to be stored inside for the most part. Other than that, there again, I just think this is going to be a really great morale booster for our crew, and it's going to be a great asset for our community.
Hello. I was just going to offer one quick clarification. So the 3.25 would be a rough estimate of this plan that Craig just detailed walked you through, which was great, by the way, was about $3 million, just a smidge over. It was like $3 million and say 50,000. And then we were holding a placeholder of 250,000 for the FF&E part of this, and that gave a 3.25-ish million dollar range. The extra bay that he's talking about adding on, we did look at alternate pricing for either a mezzanine or just adding the bay. And we think it's going to be better dollars spent to just add the bay on the ground because you have the land to do that. And then we don't have to worry about stairs and what kind of loading and structural floors and all that kind of stuff. But that would be an extra on top of that 3.25, just to be a little bit clearer there. So if it was roughly a couple $100,000 for that, it might end up being around 3.5-ish range with the FF&E included. And then I was going to point out, in terms of an apples-to-apples comparison, the CIP information that we provided in the study we did last year, I think we were sitting around 5.1 all in, and now that we know the timing and we can minimize those contingencies, and then we tightened up the dollars, and Jason and Craig have been great to work with. We've tidied up this plan with, I really think, without losing anything, which was awesome. It's really still, even in an apples-to-apples comparison, about 1.4 million less than that was showing at the time. So, yeah. All right.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, we'd be glad to take any questions that you guys have. And again, super thankful for these guys, and we are proud. Not often do we get to come in front of a council and say, hey, we're $1.5 million discounted from where we were, even though 9 months ago, but here we are. So what kinds of things do you guys want to know as you consider this contract and really take the next step to move us into action?
Article 2 of the contract, it's like item 4, perform phase 1, phase 2 environmental assessment for the project site. Is there going to be a gigantic expense in that's not included in this? Because it says under the owner. I mean, do I get to go out and do that, or Craig, or?
Yeah, chances, we don't expect that that'll even be likely needed. So typically we'll put that in there if folks know they're building over old landfills or old gas stations. And sometimes a financial institution, if we're working with private owners and they're lending money, will require a phase 1 or a phase 2 to be done. We're still actually we're talking with Harlan about retaining civil engineering services. I don't think that that'll be a need here, just because it's old farm ground. So I don't think you'll have that expense at all.
Okay.
Good question.
Not to look too far ahead, there is a little floodplain on that land, but it's further north. It'll have a little more impact on the police station, but nothing that's unnavigable.
Other questions? Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to authorize the mayor or city staff to execute Part 1 agreement from hunting scene attached in Exhibit A.
Naomi's made the motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
Krista seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Exciting.
All right, yeah, no kidding.
Thank you, Josh.
Yeah, thank you.
Jason, have fun, man. All right. CFO. Just the big buck.
Test, can you hear me? Am I here? Okay, yep.
Very good.
Okay, so, I'm here to discuss the results of our budget engagement, workshop that we had. I would say it was okay. I think the overall evening went okay. I kind of felt like the attendance was maybe just down just a little bit more than what I would expected to see, but this was our first year of doing this, to my knowledge, and so I think next year, we learn from this, and there's ways that we can make things better. One of the things that I think would make more sense, and you think about it after it's all over with, is maybe putting that survey that I put out on Facebook early on, not 10 days before, we're about ready to adopt the budget. So just to give you a recap, the purpose of the night was to present the proposed 2026 budget and just gather some input from the residents on the different priorities that they saw were important. During the night, we didn't get into very heavy details of numbers. I tried to keep it light and somewhat entertaining, so people weren't bored out of their gourd talking about budget stuff. We explained at high levels how the city tax dollars are used in the different services and the different areas that their tax dollars go towards. We reviewed the assessed valuation trends, the mill levy breakdown, and how R&R is handled throughout the process. We also talked about our proposed 2 mil property tax increase, which constitutes approximately $69 a year on a $300,000 home, and how that is dedicated fully to the 5 and 5 street replacement program. We also talked about our 2026 major investments and things that we're going to be spending big dollars on. And those items obviously included our street program and our North Park construction, technology upgrades, police vehicles and equipment, different park projects, water and sewer projects as well. We also highlighted our cost savings so that the community could see that we made efforts to reduce our costs, and that ended up being around $790,000 of different reductions that we made in different areas. We also talked about our new 25% fund balance policy that we work towards on all of our funds, so that we're saving appropriately and not dipping below desired best practice levels. I already mentioned this, but we had about 10 to 12 residents attend, and they were able to provide the feedback that we received. That day, on August 13th, I opened up a survey, a Google survey, and it went through the 20th, so I could gather data for this report tonight. We had 20 community members actually participate in the survey. Would like to see that up just a little bit if we could. And again, that's probably my fault because I just didn't get it out there enough, but I think next year, like I said, I've learned things that we can try to do better, and I'll be more organized next year to try to get some of these things out there a little quicker. The focus areas in the survey were traffic concerns, growth and development, future priorities, and additional comments. And within your budget report in your packet, I did provide you all of the charts and graphs that came off of that survey, which are really pretty cool. It kind of broke it down into the different percentages for those different items. This survey was to help supplement the community engagement event, and then probably as we're working throughout the year, if we could accomplish a few more goals that the citizens gave us input on, maybe we'll be able to do that. I was kind of thinking, and I haven't mentioned this to Craig, but maybe during our annual goal setting sessions, we can maybe bring back some of those, or maybe even open up another survey to freshen it up or something, so we can maybe, if we've got a few extra dollars, that we can utilize maybe some small low-hanging fruit items.
The drinking fountain.
Yeah.
That showed up in that chart.
Yeah.
I thought that's an interesting one.
Right,
Good
drinking
idea.
fountains, things like that we could do. The overall, in this topic area, the traffic and transportation, our top concern was 199th and the Kellogg intersection. Again, we hear that all the time. Additional priority would be at 215th and Kellogg. It calls for a new traffic light due to residential growth. Other key issues identified, Kellogg access points, Maple connections, and school-related congestion. It did look like a lot of the comments were related to the school and their growth. I know we work hand in hand with the school district, but you know, that was a theme through this, that the school has some of the school issues. Key takeaways, they support the 5 and 5 program and any sort of KDOT coordination with regional traffic pressures. Community growth and housing, the balanced growth is desired, preserving our small town feel while supporting small businesses and retail with high comments on the survey. Our concerns were high density housing and rental developments, impact on long-term community identity, and school capacity pressures. So again, like I said, that school came back around in this survey. Takeaway, the feedback aligns with comprehensive planning and infrastructure investments to manage growth responsibly. So I did, and you'll see in another one of these slides, that a lot of this feedback was consistent with our planning, I think, with our CIP and the things that we're doing. So that made me feel good. Future vision and amenities. Downtown revitalization, desire for dining, shopping, and community activities, and longer business hours to boost vibrancy. So, I mean, not that we can really control that, but these were things that were mentioned. Library was a priority. Strong support for a modern library serving all ages and keeping pace with surrounding communities. And the key takeaway was this reinforces our strategic focus on the downtown investment and library as a long-term capital goal. Both of those items are in our 10-year CIP, and again, like I said, it's good to know that the feedback we are getting is consistent with the work we've been doing this year. Infrastructure and safety, sidewalks and student safety, that was a major priority, especially around the Challenger Intermediate School. Streets and utility needs, unpaved street improvement and dust mitigation. I don't know if you've all heard that. I've never heard dust mitigation being an issue, but it was brought up here. So I mean, that was something new to me. Reliable water supply over beautification and signage. So there was some give or take on some of the projects we've done. Maybe water and infrastructure taking priority over some of those items. Again, validates investment in water looping, stormwater mapping, and street infrastructure in our CIP. Public perception and engagement, positive feedback, appreciation for our city's transparency and communication. There is still skepticism about the impact of public input on decisions. We kind of hear that still. I think we heard it at our last council meeting. Highlight need to continue two-way engagement so residents feel voices shape long-term planning. So I think probably just continuing down that path of making those improvements as we continue to do. Financial considerations, really nothing, but these are the things that are related to the budget. Our survey results help kind of guide our 2026 budget and our 10-year CIP. And again, we can revisit some of these items again in our annual goal setting sessions that we have at the beginning of the year. Community priorities tend to be water upgrades, street safety, downtown revitalization, library. We have proposed a 2 mil levy increase, which continuously funds our 5 and 5 street program. Future needs may require phased planning, grants, and bond financing, and partnerships critical for major projects. Legal considerations, really nothing, but these are just, again, things that relate to the budget. We must adopt a balanced budget and meet the R&R notification requirements. Bond issuance require state statutes and laws that we follow. KDOT coordination, requires for Kellogg and highway projects, and public input fulfills transparency and participation duties. Recommendations, really nothing, just receive and file this budget survey, and then give staff direction on any future projects or anything that you were taking away from this survey. And again, like I said, in your budget report, it gives a more of a breakdown of, or in your agenda report, it gives a breakdown of the survey that we took. So with that being said, that's pretty much the recap from that public engagement event we held. At your seat, you will see a completed city budget book. This is revised and pretty much ready to go. Also, in addition, you will find an updated budget calendar, which is almost completely crossed off. We only have a couple more things left to do on that list. And then the proposed 2026 state budget forms that we will plan to present on Tuesday, the 2nd, at our R&R hearing and our budget adoption hearing. So, that being said, I'm happy to take any questions from you.
Any questions?
That's good. What do you recommend getting more engagement from the public?
What do I? What did she?
Any of us? I mean, like open discussion about that. I mean, 20 people really responding to that, like 10 show up.
If we maybe put the information of the survey prior in the water bill.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways I
that would
could
be
do better.
for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's not about you. I mean, you have done a phenomenal job of putting this all together,
absolutely.
and the entire staff has done amazing. I mean, we've had several meetings that the community has been able to engage in. They could be here, they could be present when we're having these meetings. Those are legitimate things. So what you have done is really incredible. So you're also on a learning curve like the rest of us in this process. So I just think, for next year we'll start that process earlier, and I think that's what we do. I think that we've made it really clear that we're going to be doing these workshops and that they are open, and the public is invited to participate in those things. So I do think along the way we have made opportunities for people to engage. Just next year we'll do this particular part of it sooner.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and also, we've talked a bit about the ability to live stream things from the community center or wherever, so maybe we need to purchase some equipment and to be able to, wherever we're presenting something like that, and be able to run it and make it available online. That would be the other thing I think that would be helpful too. But in terms of this document compared to previous documents, one of the things I think, the projections that you put in it, the way it's set up, it's forward thinking. We can see the growth of the community financially. 100% improvement over what ever been presented in here before. So it's an awesome document. It's taken a lot of time and everybody's input to get there. But this gives us a good roadmap to follow in terms of, you think about all the planning and the reports and the money we spent in the last 18 months. The result of all that planning is in this document, which is really a budget, is a planning document. So this sets the direction. The days of thumbs up from the back of the room on whether we're going to spend money on things are gone, which is probably a good thing, because this requires discipline. And we take the responsibility of being transparent as we've gone through this process. If anybody has any questions, they can come ask us now. But we've got documentation in this whole process of the way we've done things. I think sometimes if no one shows up and people aren't really all that concerned, I think there's some trust that we've developed in the last 18 months too, that things are going okay up there. Good news, and no news is good news. I mean, so, I just am so excited about where we are, because, we've set a roadmap in place, we understand the finances, we know the capacity we have, and, I mean, you float a bond on the high end at 5 million, we come in on the building at 3.5. It's a lot better doing it that way than floating the bond at 3.5 and coming in at 5. I think we got the big sister over here in Wichita on their water treatment plant. They came in way over budget. Oh, by the way, we didn't include some of the costs that we needed to cover. What we're doing, in the direction we're heading, we're planning, we're making database decisions, and we're doing things the right way, and we're doing the right things. I'll just say that. And this is awesome.
Yes.
Mayor Lee, one of the things that, to respond further to Councilman Collins' question, one of the things that Brooke and I have talked about, and I don't know what it costs or how cumbersome it is, but there's like a budget simulator tool. You're going to shudder when I tell you this, but City of Lawrence uses it, and City of Wichita has it.
Can we find something that works?
But it's super cool. Like, the citizens can go in and basically build their own budget based on the city's parameters and the available finances, and I think it can even transition into some surveying, so we could see, like, hey, here's the available dollars, how would you spend it? And we can go in there and look at those results. So it's really cool to go play with that online. And then there's a couple of other cities that Brooke and I have looked at, and keep in mind, by the way, she's just coming up on her 1-year anniversary a few weeks ago. So it doesn't need said, you guys already know this, but I'll reiterate the point. What she's been able to accomplish alongside our other colleagues in the council just in that year has been monumental. So here I am saying, here, let's do these other things, but I don't want to just glaze over the fact that we did a 10-year CIP and got this entirely new budget process down to a T, and I don't want to glaze over that. I'm throwing out these new ideas, but I think the budget simulator tool would be great. There's some communities in our area that have finance and administration tabs that I'm envious of that I'd like us to model on our website, and then a couple of other opportunities too that might exist as we see some software changes in the future. So this first iteration is fantastic, but we still see some room between where we're at now and the ceiling with some of these other opportunities. So just be prepared for it to continue to get better, and I know it will with Brooke's leadership and the support we have up there behind the bench.
Yeah, definitely 4 years ago, the way this sat and the way that today, I mean, it's just phenomenal. I mean, it seems like we've grown and we're organized, and you guys are doing tremendous work. And I love seeing some of that numbers too, like people, some of the things you were talking about, the concerns are density, but at the same hand, they want all the conveniences of the shopping and restaurants, and that goes hand in hand. That's what I meant by getting more public involved. What can we do better to get them in here and voice their concerns? They don't have to be negative all the time, but come in and just, when they support something, come in and let us know. That way we know we're on the right path. But I agree with the solutions you're talking about there. So I just on staff, you guys are doing a phenomenal job. I'm honored to be here with you guys.
Thank you.
This is public now? This is on
Yes.
the website?
Danny will get that. Well, there's a version on the website. That version I don't think is yet, but it will be soon. Yep.
Brooke, do you want to share kind of what the September 2nd looks like, and the kind of putting the bow on this thing, so to speak?
The last 3 steps to the dance.
Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll open up the public hearing to exceed R&R, and then we will leave that hearing open. I don't know if I know all the steps by heart.
You got it so far.
And then we will adopt the budget, and then we close.
Close the public hearing.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know all the steps.
I've got it right here.
So,
I'm reading
on
your document.
I'll throw you a lifeline.
Thank you.
On the 2nd, we will open the revenue neutral rate hearing. We will hear comments from the citizens. It's not like a regular citizen comment. They can talk for as long as they want about the subject matter. And then the council would consider adopting the resolution to exceed R&R while the hearing is still open. Then you will close the hearing. And then we will open the regular budget hearing. Same situation, citizens will be able to comment at whatever length they'd like. Then we will close the regular budget hearing. Then the council, by roll call, will adopt the budget. And I'll rewind just a second. You also need to exceed the R&R by roll call as well. So,
I'll have it all drawn out.
Yeah,
as a
there'll be
little map for that night, so we do it all properly. Yep.
we will make sure we hit all the steps and get that procedure right. It's overly complicated, but we've done it enough times. This will be 5th or 6th year with this system in place that we'll make sure we get it right. And then the state will change it, and we'll learn the new system.
Let's hope they don't change anything.
Well, yeah, we'll take one more year, but this one
Leave it
at
as it
least.
is.
So, and then the budget process will be done. We'll start putting together annual goals for 2026 based off of the budget as our roadmap. And in January, the council will ratify those, so to speak, add, delete, edit any of those annual goals, but it should reference the budget. And that's kind of what the next few months look like for this. We still have 2025 goals that we need to wrap up. We'll be checking in on those with you the 2nd meeting of September. So we want to make sure you guys know where we're at on some of those items too.
Thank you. We don't need any formal action. We'll receive reports, so receive. City Administrator, would you like to make a report?
Mr. Mayor, I'll save my breath for next council meeting.
All right, ever anybody comments? Start with the gentleman to my left.
No, great work, guys. Appreciate it.
Neil?
Yep, excellent work. I do hope that we get more input on the budget, and not on Facebook, right? Because I feel like a lot of people give input on Facebook, but I don't really read it, and I don't really know who's in Goddard that's commenting, or do they even live in Goddard when they're commenting? And so I do think that, like, if people want to be heard and they want us to hear them and they want their inputs, that they have to come to the meetings and they have to, be part of the whole process. I know that there's issues I've heard about the 2 mil increase, but these budgets are created for the whole year based on the fact that 2 mil increase. So we're kind of late, but I understand we have to have those hearings. But I would hope that next year people understand that in order to really be impactful on the 2 mil, they have to come in, be impactful on the budget. Otherwise we're just gonna keep going, because nothing heard sounds like agreement to me. But I think you guys did an awesome job, and I really appreciate all the work that you've done. I'm really excited. Thanks for putting together such a great plan for our staff here. So I'm excited to see it built. Thanks for all your hard work on that.
Krista?
Everything that's been said, I agree with. We are growing and it's exciting. And I feel like this particular council is working hard with the staff to change culture in our community, and hopefully more and more of our community will come in and be heard, to Naomi's point. Facebook is not the platform. This is where decisions are made. So please come in. We will listen. And it's an exciting time in our community.
And just to tag along with that, the 2 mil increase this year really was foreshadowed in what we did last year. We have not deviated or changed in terms of our communication, our intent. And at this point, our intent is to probably do another 2 mil increase next year. And that money's gonna go to fund the 5 and 5 project. That first First Street that we paved this year, it's almost $400,000 worth of expense. We go over to Third Street, not only redoing the street, but we're redoing the water line. We've interjected plastic extrusion through the sewer line, fixing the core, and doing this infrastructure spending is not glitzy. It's not fun, but it's necessary. And in addition to doing the D- graded streets, because all the streets are graded, we're also hitting the B- streets over in St. Andrews here in the fall. So we are taking steps to take care of the community from the core. And if you let the core rot out in the community, the whole community is going to rot. The other thing that we've done as it relates to water and the things, and we probably haven't talked about this enough, but this year we received a 46 million gallon increase in water capacity for our 4 water wells. We're also right now working on that connection for 35 million gallons of water that we've signed the contract with Rural Water District number 4. We're also working in conjunction with the legislature to develop regulations for water reuse, which ties into the work that the water ad hoc committee had done, and getting us to a point in a direction where we can go ahead and build a water treatment plant. In my view, possibly with a $10 increase in debt service as we roll the debt service of the sewage treatment plant off and go from a $10 debt service to $20. That is in the realm of possibility to build a $20 million facility. So we're working on quality, and there's a direction in this budget in the way we're going to actually attack the quality. I mean, those are big things we're working on, and we've also, with the budget projections, we can see that we've got cash flow in the next 4 years to pay for these things. And so I think we are looking at things from a long-term view, and we're not being short-sighted. And if we get a water treatment plant facility running out here, there will be people over the next 50 years that have clean water out here that will be thankful that it was done. And so I'm really excited about all this, because this is fun stuff. We're doing the hard work. We've got the hard work done. We've set the direction of this thing. We just need to see it through. And so I appreciate the work of the staff. Some of you are new. Everyone that's been added to the staff has been a tremendous benefit to the momentum that we have going. And I spent probably more time than I should have visiting with Malloy's cousin's husband. He likes hearing about this stuff. And I am proud to be able to say that I'm the mayor of Goddard, and that the people that work here in this community is moving in the right direction. And I just want to say thank you to all of you for all your efforts. March on, because it's fall. It's listen to that band music in Manhattan here on Saturday. With that, I think we're done. We don't have an executive session. I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Aubrey seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting closed.